Hey folks, alright, so this is video number 2, week 4, sticker number 3. Again, I went into Bio Week 4 materials, and I opened up my notes, right? Those notes are right here. You should, if you're watching this video, you have completed sticker 1 and sticker 2. So you should have this table copied, and you should be looking at it. This is what was due last week, week 3, everything on here. So this is what we're adding this week. So the elements, I'm literally talking about the atoms, like what are our molecules made up of. So we've got carbon, we've got hydrogen, and we've got oxygen. Those are the only 3 types of atoms found in carbohydrates. And in the last video I said the function of carbs is to provide you with long-lasting energy. Okay, cool. So a little bit more about the chemical structure. If I say chemical structure, I'm literally talking about the atoms, the C's, the H's, and the O's. It says there will always be a ratio of hydrogen twice that of carbon and oxygen. Okay, I'm going to read that again. There will always be a ratio of hydrogen twice that of carbon and oxygen. Okay, it says examples, and then it looks like I don't give you any, so that's silly. I don't know what I was thinking there. So if I open up my Googles, and I go chemical formula glucose, we have C6H12O6. So this means that there are 6 carbons, there are 6 oxygens, and there are 12 hydrogens. For any carbohydrate, you'll always have double the H's than the 6's double the H's than the C's and the O's. So that means if I give you 12, you'll know, if it's a carb, you'll know that it's got 6 carbons and it's got 6 oxygens. Because there's always going to be double the H's than there are carbons and oxygens. Double, right? So again, if it's 6 out here, it's going to be 12 in the middle. If it's 5 out here, it'll be 10 in the middle, right? If it's 8 out here, it'll be 16 in the middle. So there's going to be double the H's than there are carbons and oxygens. If you have any questions about that, just let me know. That's not where I wanted to be. Let me see. There we go. And carbohydrates include sugars, starches, cellulose, and many other compounds found in living organisms. I think we talked a little bit about that last week. All right. Oh, there are my examples. Silly me. I made a whole new slide and I forgot. All right. So I don't think I need to go over this again, but just to show you again, glucose, there's 12 hydrogens, so that means there's 6 carbon, 6 oxygen, double. For sucrose, there is 22 hydrogen, so that means we have to have 11 carbon, 11 oxygen, right? Just basic math, so you're just doubling. Carbohydrates will typically end in OSE. For a quiz, if it says like, which of the following are not carbohydrates, and you have 3 that end in OSE, and then another one that doesn't, pick the one that doesn't, because I'm not going to trick you, right? Most of all the carbs end in OSE, so sucrose, glucose, lactose, galactose, fructose, all the O's. Also, these are things that you may have actually heard of in your real life, like lactose. Like a lot of people are lactose intolerant. I'm one of them, me, right here. Lactose intolerant means I can't drink milk without having a certain enzyme because my body doesn't produce the enzyme that breaks down this lactose, right? So I need an enzyme that breaks down this lactose, or it can't be broken down in my tummy, and then I get upset. I get an upset stomach if I consume milk, right? I need this enzyme to break down this sugar, this lactose sugar. Okay, so we're going to stop. You are going to add 5 more terms on your vocabulary sheet. I know. Holy moly. If you don't know how to do that, I'm going to help you. So, what did I save it? Is this it? No, that's not it. There it is. Alright, so if you've never done this before, it's okay. All you're going to do is Control C, so you're going to copy the last row, right? And then you're going to hit, you're going to right click, and then you're going to see, oh, it says insert row above, insert row below. So you want to insert row below, and you're going to make 5 of these. So I'm going to Control C. I just Controlled C for copy. Now I'm going to Control V for paste. See if anything happens here. It didn't happen. Oh, and I'm in the wrong thing. Boo! Hold on. Is this the one that is? Yeah. Okay, so again, we are gonna do, we're gonna just, we're just gonna scroll over it for right now, right? We're gonna right click and we're gonna go insert row below. And then, you know what, we're going to do the same thing 5 times. So again, right click, insert row below, right click, insert row below. You do have to highlight it every time though. So scroll over it. Right click, insert row below, right click, oops, I'll do that. Right click, insert row below. Alright, cool. So now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. Alright, if I go back to my notes, it gives you the 5 terms that you need. 2, 3, 4. I added one, guys. There's 6 terms. My bad. 6 terms. I'm going to fix that so when I post it. 6 terms. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, so the first 2 terms are monosaccharide and disaccharide. Alright, so we're going to go monosaccharide, disaccharide. The third is polysaccharide. The fourth is isomer. Oops, not osimer. Isomer. The fifth is simple carbohydrates. And then we're going to add one more. So highlight, right click, insert row below. Complex carbohydrates. Perfect. Okay, cool. Some of you, if you were paying attention last week, or if you remember any of the stuff from last week, might actually know the answer to this first one. But I'm gonna wait. Alright, here we go. Moving on. Monosaccharide. The definition of a monosaccharide is a sugar molecule that only has one unit. This is the monomer of carbohydrates. It's a monosaccharide. The monomer of carbohydrates. So it's a sugar molecule that is made up of one unit, which means it's a monomer. Alright, cool. So, I'm going to go back to my notes real quick, as long as we're good with that definition. Sugar molecule that's made up of one unit, it's a monomer. So, if you're asked on a quiz, what is the monomer of carbohydrates, you will always say it's a monosaccharide. If you're asked for the definition of a monosaccharide, you say it's a sugar molecule and it's only made up of one unit. Alright. So the three examples that you are given for monosaccharides are glucose, galactose, and fructose. Those are the three examples you'll be expected to know. Glucose, galactose, and fructose. Okay? Monomers can have an identical chemical composition, so that means the elements are the same and there's the same amount of them, but have a different structure. So the way it looks, say under a microscope, or just the way it looks in general is different. So these, if something has the same chemical composition but a different structure, they're called isomers. It's down here. It's called isomers. So glucose and fructose are identical in chemical composition, but they have a different structure. So they are identical in, if you want to think of it in terms of letters, but the way they look is different. And you can tell that based off of these images, right? So there's small little differences, right? So I'm not expecting you to know, we haven't gone over chemical composition or chemical structure in this class. We're not going to. I just want you to know that it is possible for something to have the same letters in the same amount, but be arranged differently. And I want you to know that the term is called an isomer. So a molecule has the same chemical composition, but a different structure. That's what we're going to say is the definition for isomer. A molecule has the same chemical composition, but a different structure. Then those two are, how about we say this? A molecule that has the same chemical composition as another molecule, but they have different structures. These two molecules are known as isomers. I think this just explains it a little bit better because you're talking about two, you're comparing two things. Alright, so moving on with the notes. So that's monosaccharides. We just talked about monosaccharides, single unit. So for science, we're going to learn another prefix here. We've already talked about mono, which means one, and poly, it means many. Di, D-I, like dice. Typically you roll a dice, right? Two, well, I guess die. I don't think that's where that came from, actually. But the prefix di in this context means two. A disaccharide are two sugar molecules that are linked up and chained together, essentially, right? So a disaccharide is a sugar molecule that is made up of two sugar molecule that is made up of two units. How about we say that, right? So it could be like a glucose and a glucose, or a galactose and a glucose, right? So it's made up of two monomers, essentially. So I have examples. These are the only examples you're expected to know. Glucose plus glucose, it makes or creates something called maltose. Glucose plus galactose, it will create lactose, which is found in milk. And glucose plus fructose, it makes sucrose, which is like the sugar that we eat, the table sugar. Right, so the three disaccharides that you'll be expected to know are maltose, lactose, and sucrose. And yes, you'll be expected to know how you get these, right? So maltose, you have two glucoses. Lactose, you have glucose and galactose. And sucrose, you have glucose and fructose. Okay? So those are your disaccharides. I'm going to end this video here because it's going to cut out on me in a few minutes, right? So we're just chugging along on our table. I will see you in video 3 shortly. Peace.